God has promised that he is going to give a microphone to our silent witness. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. This is part number 4 of this 5-part series, Earth's Final Events. Another one of those is the loud cry. The loud cry. And it's interesting, it's the loud cry because that infers that there is a cry. Every day, you and I are crying out to the world by how we live. Whether or not our lives are saying to those who are around us, this is it. This is the world we want to be in. This is how we want to live. Or if we're living a life that says, look, this is not my home. I'm looking forward to a new place. And that's why you see me living like I live in a new place. Regardless, we're all crying out. But the Bible is promised there's going to be a loud cry. In other words, a microphone is going to be given to every witness in the earth. And those who are looking and living towards God, God's going to put his microphone in our hands so that everybody can know what we know. But before we unpack it, I want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button so others can find this video. And we appreciate you sharing this with someone else and visiting us online. changeministry.org. There's a lot more to see. Matter of fact, there's a whole health section. There's a lot of recipes, plant-based, vegan, goodness, sweetness, and medicine and healing all in one. But you got to go check it out. That's at changeministry.org. So God's plan is that what he wants to do in the earth, he doesn't do it through angels. He uses angels to facilitate us performing and even completing this work in the world. That's a miracle. We've already seen how it's by God dwelling in us. It is by him being in us, by his spirit, that we are animated, elevated, and empowered to live righteously in a wretched planet. So now, while we're living this life in this wretched planet, God is saying, I'm going to turn up the volume so loud that nobody will be able to say before Jesus comes, I didn't know, or I didn't hear, or I didn't understand. This is the promise of the loud cry. We find it in Revelation, of course, Revelation chapter 18, where it says in verses 1-3, after these things, I saw another angel. Now notice the word of another angel, meaning that we're all crying out now. We're all messengers in our own way. But now here comes another angel, another messenger from heaven and having great power. And the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. But he doesn't stop there. The message goes on to say, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. This message is not necessarily a new message. Remember, we have already the 3 angels' messages of Revelation 14. The first angel is a cry for everyone to worship God. The second angel is a cry for everyone to come out of Babylon because Babylon is fallen. And now the third angel's message is the call to run away from the mark of the beast and instead to turn to the seal of God, turn to Jesus, be covered in his righteousness, and be called a friend of God by faith in him. These messages have already gone out, but the Revelation 18 messenger takes the same message, but puts it on a whole nother decibel level. It loudens, it cries out so that all of the earth has an opportunity to choose. So this is the loud cry, but how can we say it's for the sake of all to know? Well, because God says so. In Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 14, it says, it prophesies, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. And just in case we didn't understand the scale of this fullness, it will be as full as the waters cover the sea. We know that we live in this earth, and this earth is mostly covered in water. The earth will be covered. The similarity is that the earth will be covered with the knowledge of God. Whether or not people choose to embrace, accept, and believe what they know is true, that remains with you and with me. But the fact is, everybody's going to see the commercial. Whether or not everybody buys in, that's up to us. This is God's promise. He's going to do it by his power, and he's going to do it through his people. Remember, this is an angel, which symbolizes a message. We are his messengers, just as much as angels are his messengers. But angels aren't people. And God has called people to reach people. He's called us to be witnesses to other people to what God can do in them. So when you get to Matthew chapter 24, this brings it all together when Jesus says what he said. This gospel, this message, this truth of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world. How so? For a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Thank you, Jesus, for saying what you said to show us that it is not just something that happens through a pamphlet or through a leaflet or through a flyer or even just through a video or through a sermon or through a seminar. It says that the gospel will be preached for a witness. This may be the physical means in which the words and the understanding is shared, but what is shared and known will ultimately be revealed in the life. It will show out in how we live. Again, not just on Sabbath, but every day of the week. Not just on a Sunday, but every day of the week. God is calling us into a relationship as sure as he is saying, I want all of my people to be worshiping me on the seventh day Sabbath. As sure as he is saying, I want all of my people to live for me every single day of the week. That witnessing cannot just be limited to four walls in the church. That witnessing has to go to four walls in a cubicle. That has to go to four walls in a classroom. It has to go to four walls in a big box store. It has to be there that the witness of God's work in us is always and ongoing and incessantly witnessing to the God who is always and ongoing and incessantly blessing and loving and with us. That's a powerful gift. This is a powerful prophecy. The prophecy of the loud cry. It lets us know that everybody's going to know who Jesus is before Jesus comes. It's our prayer and our decision now whether or not we let Jesus witness or live through us. Invite him into your life now. Invite the Spirit of God to be in us so that we can have the mind of Christ to do what he's called us to do, which is simply to be what he's called us to be.